What is going on, guys? We are live. Guys, I got a really interesting video for you this morning that I want to react to. I was just looking on YouTube and I'm like, what am I going to react to today while I'm on live? And I found this video with a very interesting title. Hold on, I'm trying to see if anybody was in on the live yet. I found this video with a very interesting title. She left a good man at 23, and now she wants him back at 35. Now, if you guys don't understand why this would be a good video to react to, I've had a situation where I was trying to talk to a young lady back in the day, and every time I tried to talk to her, she would curve me or ghost me, however y'all say today, and push me to the side and not want anything to do with me. So one day I'm chilling at my cousin, my little cousin, Sweet 16. I'm having a good time with the family, waving at people, interacting, doing the regular thing you do at a Sweet 16. And I get a phone call. So I'm on the phone, and it's this particular young lady, and she's like, "Yeah, what you doing?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm at my little cousin Sweet 16. Wow, what's up?" "Yeah, I want to come outside." Now, come outside, this is keyword for basically she want to get it in. So I'm like, "Okay, hold on, where you at?" And she like, "I'm on such and such block." I'm like, and I got my homegirl with me. "Oh, so you want me to bring somebody?" So I call up my homeboy, and I'm like, "Yo, I got this chick. She want to chill out. She got a homegirl with her. What you doing?" "Nah, I ain't doing nothing." "All right, let's go pick them up." So I'm riding. Long story short, I get to the area where she said she was at. So I'm like, man, where is she at? I see a lady standing on the corner. Now, I'm not body shaming. I don't want nobody to think I'm body shaming, but I just think this is weird, and I think it's kind of crazy that it happened this way. I see a lady standing on the corner with her homegirl, but one is obese and the other one is what we would call thick. So I'm like, all right, that can't be her, because the last time I saw her, she was not as big as she was when I seen her then. So like, that couldn't have been her. So I swing the corner or spin the corner one more time. I'm like, yeah, where's she at? So I call her and I'm like, "Oh, where you at?" I spun the corner twice. I didn't see you. She was like, "No, that's me standing on the corner of such and such and such and such." I said, "What?" Oh man. All right, so I spin the corner. I'm like, I'm not gonna do it dirty. I'm gonna go around here and get her. So I'm like, all right, let me go get her, whatever, get in the car. I'm like, oh my God. You know what I'm saying? She went from like 165, I want to say, to like 365. I'm like, oh no. And I got respect for her. I'm not just like, nah, I'm not gonna rock with that. I got my homeboy here. He feeling, shorty over here. So I'll take one for the team. Long story short, things didn't go according to plan for her, but it did for my homeboy. It just bugged me out. Like, why would you wait until you're at a point where your selections are low to then want somebody who wanted you when your selections are high? So that's a question I believe a lot of men have. I noticed by looking at my YouTube analytics that a lot of women watch my channel. So hopefully this is not triggering to you guys. But this channel was created actually to give opinion on men and women issues in relationships. So just to let you know, this is not a fully functioning women's advice only channel. It's a women and men. So I just found this title to be very interesting because I want to know, why did they break up and why she decides now that she wants to go back to him. So That's what we're gonna find out. Let's get active.
You think the grass is going to be greener on the other side. And then you go back to something that you dated when you were younger, and you kind of realize, again, like you said, that person's mindset didn't necessarily grow over time. Things happen in your life that make you change a little. Things happen in that person's life that makes them change a little more. This time frame has passed, and now the things that have occurred during that time frame have changed the two of you in a certain way. And now you go back into the situation, and you guys don't connect as much as you think. Okay, that situation could have worked out, but because of the time that has passed, you guys are not the same, and you think it's going to work out, but it doesn't necessarily happen that way. Now I'm a person that doesn't care for toxicity. I used to be a person that loved it because it was fun. I was young. I didn't have a bigger plan for my future, but now that I'm back with you, the toxicity won't work for me. So therefore, this relationship can't work.
This was one of the...
To say you liked toxicity is bananas. You know, that's like saying I like the fact that every day that I come in the house, my husband calls me a stupid and then tells me to go ahead in the kitchen and make the food. You should never like toxicity at all. But again, a lot of us grow up in neighborhoods or grow up in settings where toxicity is our coat in the middle of winter. And when toxicity makes you feel warm and it makes you feel comfy and it makes you feel like this is something great, you will allow the toxicity to consistently comfort you, which is crazy. But let's continue.
The things Alan told me, which I thought was like so great, and I've been running with it ever since, right? And this is my take on my analogy on dating an ex, right? So there's an old story where there was a woman who wanted a pig. Okay, this woman wanted a pig, and she was a very rich, wealthy woman. Mm-hmm. She got the pig, she got the baby pig, and she dressed it up in all designer. She put diamonds on it, diamond necklace, everything. She made the pig everything that she wanted, right? And then as she, had the pig, one day it started to rain.
Is he talking about Charlotte's Web? What are we talking about here? But let's go. I don't know.
Right, and she got caught in the rain. Mm-hmm. And the pig almost broke her arm to jump out of her arms so it could run in mud. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. At the end of the day, the pig is still going to be a pig. It does not matter what you want it to be. Mm-hmm. It does not matter what you want to dress it up as. The same goes and the same rules applies as people. That person is what they are, and it's important to accept what they are, which is most likely, not all the time, but it's most likely the case that they are an ex and not a current.
It seems like oh, people are who they are. Like the pig is who they are. Accept the pig or don't accept the pig. How about?
That was actually a great analogy because, I mean, that's like people who would try to make a wolf their pet. And there are people who have tried to make not an actual wolf, but a dog that's a breed of a wolf and a dog. And at the end of the day, the natural instincts of the wolf is going to take over. So we can never make people something we want them to be. We always have to accept the fact that they are people. See, in relationships, sometimes, guys, we want the love or the togetherness so much that we hope and wish that somebody is something that they're not. And a lot of times you'll force things on them to make them stay the way you want them to be. And that can end up being a toxic situation for that person, but great for you. It's like the adage, happy wife, happy life. It's a happy life for the wife, but the husband consistently has to be stressed out in order for her to keep a smile on her face. So a lot of times it's not on what it's chucked up to be, but let's let them continue.
About we blame the woman for being foolish enough to believe that she could
wear Gucci.
No, that's what I'm blaming.
Okay.
Or not just the woman, but that woman in an analogy.
Yes.
I'm blaming the person to not understand that you can't make anybody be what you want them to be. Right. I don't care how much money you have. I don't care how much power you have. I don't care how much popularity you have. You can't make somebody be what you want them to be. You could date a girl. You could be a guy. You could date this girl because she's beautiful. But guess what? She's not a wife. And you can't make her be a wife. You're a woman. You're dating this guy, right? And he's just an asshole. And you want a gentleman. He can't be a gentleman. And you got to understand that instead of trying to mold and change people and give people every reason to change, you just got to give yourself every reason to move on. If I had to take a poll, right, and this is just an educated guess stat, I would say 80% of people who left their ex and double back to their ex is because they thought that they can qualify for something bigger or better, and they don't. And so they realize that
that's actually bananas. The reason why we're here is to find out why this 23-year-old lady left and then decided to come back. A lot of times, guys, people would have their exes in the friend pool. You understand? They'll put in the friend zone, if you want to call it that. They don't really want to get rid of the person, but they don't want them no more. And that's an oxymoron in itself. You either want them or you don't. So they'll put them in the friend zone. See, a lot of women that say, yeah, I got guy friends, and a lot of those guy friends are dudes who didn't succeed in getting a second date, or dudes she actually didn't want but didn't mind having as a friend, or they might be dudes that were exes that she just didn't want to let go of, but she ain't want no more. That's crazy to even say. Now, guys do the same thing. Let's not get it twisted. Guys will have female friends who are a part of that same lot, but women are more likely to have more men stand on standby than men would. So if you go through a whole 19 people, 20 people, and you say, man, none of these people worked like him, depending on how, why, and where, or whatever, how y'all broke up, would determine on whether you should take steps backwards to go into something you was in before. Because if you initially left, that's what you have to understand. If you initially leave a relationship, there is no need to come back because you decided that the relationship was not for you, so you left it. Now, some people may attribute age. I was young at the time. Some people may attribute their psychological well-being. I was in a bad place, or other reasons on why they didn't stay. To the reasons why they didn't stay and decided to leave. I'm well now. I'm older now. I'm more smarter now. Can we get back together? That's usually like how the process would go. But listen to this. If you ran out of a burning building, would you walk back in that building to sit and relax all over again? I don't think so.
But they thought their market value was and what they thought they could obtain, they can't. So now they're trying to go back to where they technically belong. But like you said before, that doesn't mean that person is going to accept you back, especially if your ex has now climbed the charts and now they're above where you met them and you're still at the same spot where you left them. I think it's important if you're going to leave somebody, you need to make sure that you understand that you're going to come back. If you ever decide to revisit, you have to be a better version of you. You have to be a more established version of yourself. You have to be a more, equipped, whether it be assets and or, wisdom, knowledge, whatever it may be. You have to have more attributes.
I disagree with him 100%. Again, if you bettered yourself and got yourself in a better position, the last thing you should be thinking about is backtracking to an ex that you already dropped off. See, a lot of times, even with today's world, people say dating is hard or finding a date is hard. I used to talk to people about this about 20 years ago, about 2002, about 22 years ago. And I would say, it's funny how people would go back to somebody, right? Because they can no longer find somebody good. I had a lady say to me a long time ago, a young lady said to me a long time ago, the only reason I went back to my ex-boyfriend was because I couldn't find nobody else that would treat me the way he did. So why did you leave him in the first place? So we go into getting bored. Oh, I was getting bored of the relationship. I was tired of the relationship. So why go back to something you was tired of? I can throw another analogy at y'all. Imagine running on a track that's 100,000 miles long. You completed it, which is impossible. But you're going to go back, even though you almost died the last time you ran on that track. You're going to go try it again. What's the point? You did it once. There's no need to do it again. You failed, or you almost lost your life due to not being able to accomplish this fully. But for some reason, you get to this point, and this toxic bond that you have now has caused you to want to go running backwards. So now you're going to run that 100,000-mile track backwards? Come on now.
Than you actually left with when you tried to double back. If you try to double back and even if you're making more money, but you're still the same person, you're still the same person. You know what I'm saying? So those are just my tips.
Unless money was the issue, which for the case of marriage and divorce, they say that that's the number one reason why people separate.
I want to go back and I want to tie both of your points together when you were referring to, men being able to step out of their relationship because he is the sole provider or whatever the case may be. Historically, that was the norm, right? And I want to tie that into what's happening right now in terms of doubling back, right? Some people double back after the infidelity has happened in the original relationship. You know why? Because it takes an actual conscious, aware person to understand that being unfaithful does not mean you're being disloyal. If I'm still doing
being unfaithful does not mean you're being disloyal. I wonder if he thought about that as that flowed from his mouth. And I might not have given him the chance to finish. Hey, guys, at a certain point, what I notice a lot of these guys that talk, some guys on these podcasts that have a lot of women around them, they're either pandering to the women or they're disrespecting them, which both of them to me doesn't make any sense. Being a person who has been talking about relationships over 25 years to people, studying, analyzing, and researching them, I would never pander to a bunch of women, because that just means that I'm taking out my logic in order to make you happy. In a logical situation, I'm not thinking about making you happy. I'm thinking about helping you understand. Near the mere fact that I would never disrespect you as a person or as a human, but I would talk about the craziness you deliver to me if it sounds crazy to me. What he just said is basically that you can be dishonorable in the relationship. Dishonor means that you have disrespected the person and everything of the above. So if you are no longer honoring your relationship, you don't need to be in it. Plain and simple. Because you rather be somewhere else. You rather not be where you're honored or your loyalty is at. Because loyalty and honor are both the same, just as well as chivalry and respect. They're all in the same bubble when it comes to being in a relationship with someone. So I don't know if he, thought about what he was saying before he said it, but I think he's trying not to make them women upset, or somebody there probably cheated, and he's just probably trying to not make the person upset. Again, I don't care to make you upset if what you've done is illogical. I'm just going to add logic to it, even though some people don't want to hear logic because they are more comfortable with the lie. But some people don't want to hear logic because they're more comfortable with the lie. And when people become comfortable with their untruth, the truth is basically like a toxic situation for them.
Everything that I was doing for you, okay? If I come home and I make you happy, if I take care of home, I take care of kids, I do everything, I'm the workhorse, but you caught me stepping outside. That doesn't mean I was disloyal. That means I was unfaithful.
I agree.
I still never stopped.
You were disloyal and unfaithful. You were disloyal and unfaithful. You're not loyal to your relationship, and you were unfaithful. See, this is what happens, guys. What happens is when you start taking little bits and pieces of things and trying to make something out of something else, that creates more cheating. That makes the person think, oh yeah, so next time I just need not to be unfaithful. but I can talk to other people. I could be in a room with another person. I just don't need to sleep with them. No. If you're not loyal, you're not loyal. All the way around. You're unfaithful and unloyal. And you're dishonoring your relationship. All three. There is no in between there. There is no step down or step up. There is none of that. It's all in the same box.
Doing the things that I promised to provide for us, and I still never stop, making you unhappy. Granted, if you are doing, stepping out because there is an unhappiness, that's way different.
I'm gonna just go on a tangent a little bit. Sorry.
I love it.
But
thought-provoking.
Now,
I hate that. I hate to keep pausing this, but God damn, he keeps saying stuff that will confuse the masses. And that's something that bothers me, being a person who's passionate about talking about relationships. I dislike when people have a large platform with a large audience and they start delivering misinformation to that audience. What the F are you talking about? If you decide to cheat, that is a decision that you made because you wanted to do it. There is no other attachments to your cheating behavior. There is nothing else that you can build or conjure to say, hey, I cheated this time and it was because of this. All of those are excuses, guys. If ever someone gives you a reason why they cheated on you, believe me, it was an excuse. Or if they are going to give you a reason, there is an excuse attached to their reason. And if the reason has to be about them destroying you and saying you're the reason that they decided to step out, that is very toxic. And that is very damning to you in the relationship for them to make you seem like you're the problem.
when you're with a woman, right, she's doing a lot of things to bring when you're with a woman that you love, obviously she's bringing a lot of things to the table that you obviously need and desire. So if she steps out on you, you once said that you won't take that woman back. Why?
That's not what I've ever said. Actually, in fact, I love correcting people. In fact, the way I actually got my job at 8 at the table, the way I got my job at 8 at the table was saying that if I was doing it, especially if I was doing it as well, I got to charge it to the game. And I realized that life, first of all, I stepped out in other relationships. So if I'm in a good relationship, and most men are probably going to deny it, but I realize that most men are just going to deny it to themselves. Mm-hmm. If you're in a good relationship with a woman and she steps out on you and she was still doing everything that she needed to do, granted, it depends on how she steps out. If she built the relationship, that's one thing. Mm-hmm. We're talking about like maybe a girl's trip. She fuck around and fuck Drake. I'm going to be mad.
I think I do remember you saying, okay.
I'm going to be like, yo, I got to charge it to the game. You know what I'm saying? That's just what happens. Bitch. You know what I'm saying? But if you go out and you go get a Pico and not a Rico, then we have an issue. Like, you're not gonna go below this. Nah, I know you're just desperate. Okay. You know, but that was just to clarify.
But back to your point though, about the loyalty, disloyalty, unfaithfulness. So that is so key. When I work with my clients, I ask them, what do you want? Like the notebook, like, what do you want? Yeah. And many times people use this term of, I want someone who's loyal. And that's not the word that they actually, I'm like, let's Google it. Like, are we sure that the words that you are using and the attributes that you're looking for is actually descriptive of what you want? And that's exactly it. Like, I want someone who's faithful. Mm-hmm. Okay. So then that's a different animal. So I agree with you 100% in that regard. Back to your comment though, of how many times are we going to accept the unfaithfulness? Like, what are the circumstances? Like you said, the Drake versus the Pico. Like, what are the
guys? A lot of times we enter relationships and we've already somehow attached ourselves to the person. And maybe it's a large amount of lust that you have. Maybe it's a large amount of, abandonment issues you may have. Whatever your reason for not wanting to end the relationship off of one act of infidelity, who knows? You may again have been conditioned to believe that this act of infidelity was done for another reason. And if that reason can be put to the side, you're more likely to accept the person's apology or something of that nature because you decided to not cheat again or something of that nature. But in all, like I keep mentioning, guys, cheating is cheating. So the act of betrayal and the act of dishonesty and the act of not being loyal has to be questioned by the person who did not cheat.
Circumstances that are, I don't want to use that word, but
It is
right,
what it is.
like
Yeah.
acceptable. And then also in your case, you said charge it to the game if you were doing dirt, if you weren't doing the dirt.
No, I'm talking about even previously.
Yeah, in the
I've already did my. Listen, karma is coming. I don't know how she's coming, but if it coming, like, well, I guess it's what I deserve. This is what happens.
So you just
you know.
want to just
I done
deal
felt
with
that
it.
way.
I know what I
Too.
was. Listen, I know everything that I did in my life. It wasn't the most reasonable, right? But you see the foot tap.
I do think that disloyalty and unfaithfulness can go hand in hand, though, because you're unfaithful but still be loyal to me. Like, I understand what Rico was saying, like he's still doing all of these things, but what are you telling this side bitch?
Yeah, see, that sounds crazy. Again, he opened up the door for confusion. If you're unfaithful, you are disloyal. That's like saying, okay, you stole from my house, but I'm gonna let you back in here, even though you're a kleptomaniac. They're gonna steal again. So, okay, even though they stole from you, they're still a loyal friend. That's bananas. There's an oxymoron y'all are creating here.
Like, what are you telling this girl that you're cheating? Are you saying like my wife at home is a piece of shit, like, oh, she's so annoying, blah blah blah? You're disloyal.
Yes.
But if you be like, I'm fucking you, but I love my wife, like I'm not leaving her. This is not like we're not gonna be in a relationship. Like, I love her. I'm going back. That is loyal.
I
How you
can't.
talk
That's
about
me
me
right there.
How you talk about me behind
my-
my back is you being.
What? So you can, have sex with me. You can have sex with your side chick, but don't just talk crazy about your wife. Yeah, you can go have sex with your side chick, yes, but make sure that you still are loyal to your wife, showing her some type of loyalty. What? That is crazy. And the look on their faces is even crazier. No, if you're getting cheated on, that's it. You shouldn't want your man to be in the legs of another woman, period. In any way, shape, or form. Unless you are thinking about doing something on the side yourself, that's the only way that makes logical sense. That someone would say, yeah, I don't mind if he's sleeping with her. He just better not be talking crap about me while you're doing it.
Being loyal to me.
Mhm.
So I feel like that goes.
And they love it. They love it. Women love that. It's sickening.
Ew.
Women love.
And
If you tell a girl,
no way.
yo,
They got me
listen,
over here.
we about to mess up.
No generalization, my G. That's a problem with a lot of people. Women like that. Men like that. No generalization. You see many women, or you see most women, or you see some women, or you see there are people.
Loyal.
If we about to mess around, but I'm telling you right now, I love my girl. Do not fuck my shit up. Some women would be like, wow,
Don't even talk
I
about
want that.
Yes.
Like,
Yes.
I want that too.
Yeah,
Like,
I'm here
no
with you
matter
right
what.
now, but don't be talking shit about my girl.
No, yeah. What? I will fight.
What? I'm here with you right now, but don't be talking about my girl. So wait a minute. Wait a minute. So, okay. It's okay for you to disrespect your girl by being in the presence of another woman, period. But that woman cannot disrespect your girl while you're in the process of disrespecting her. That's bananas. They can't be serious. This has to be for content purposes. That this video he created has to be for likes and clicks. It has to be. They can't be serious. They can't be seriously sharing stuff like this to the people. How many views has this got? Oh my God. This has 118,000. Oh no. What are some people saying in the comments about this? Fellas, you never take any woman back that steps out on you regardless who she exactly. Yeah, my guy is tripping. Yeah, he is. If a lady cheats on you, she is emotionally tied to the guy. She cheat exactly. Exactly. Excuse me. Because when women cheat, guys, when women cheat, it's said that women cheat emotionally. When men cheat, we cheat just for sex. In all, like I'm telling y'all, people cheat because they want to. But once there is a cheating act, the woman has become emotionally tied to the guy. I think this is for clicks. I truly think, guys, a lot of times, damn, run the views up on this video I'm creating now. Share the live if you have not shared the live. Click that like button if you not had clicked it. Create a fucking short of me saying the stuff that I'm saying right now. Blow this channel up. Thank you to the subscribers that I have, because it's crazy how misinformation is fed faster than information that will benefit you. It's almost like people love to get misinformed because the misinformation is entertaining, and they don't want to be bored of what's happening. So I gotta add a lot of verbal anger, and I gotta seem physically frustrated, and I gotta say some things that may make the audience connect more, so that you could stay here and watch this live. Bullshit. I have to make sure that I'm giving you the real and connecting with you on a real level, because that's what this channel is about. This channel is about connecting with you on a real level and giving you an actual understanding away from the bullshit you keep hearing on social media.
Fight you like,
Oh,
yo,
yeah,
we
like,
can fuck,
we
you
can
better
fight
not talk
right
shit about
now.
my wife, like, you know, but women love that, because at the end of the day, this is what I believe. You know what I'm saying? Hey, I could be in my own space.
And that's what we have to marry up. That's what we have. That's what, like, somebody that's gonna tell me like I'm gonna cheat on you, but well, I had your back.
No,
Like,
I'm not saying this is what we
Nah.
should want, but I'm just trying to
It's the
let
reality.
them know how
I'd rather be alone.
loyalty.
You know how
and
many-
I would
faithfulness-
rather be alone.
You wouldn't rather be alone. You'd rather be lied to. See, that's the thing. There's so much infidelity. And for a long time, even here at 80 at the table, I fought to not say normalize infidelity, normalizing the act of cheating.
Mhm.
But guess what? It is more normal than it is unnormal. And we need to start to embrace it. And there's some people who need to actually be like, yo, you know what? Cheating on me isn't a full deal breaker, depending on how many times it happens.
Okay, fine.
No, but if
said
you
that
that
and I got
loyal to
cursed.
me, don't let me
The fuck
find
out.
out.
Okay, fine.
You said that what?
Literally, it was reposted today where I said that. I said that on the podcast before, that I said, I am married, right? I am legally married to my husband. And if he cheated on me one time, and again, depending on the circumstances, that I might not necessarily divorce him. And the thing is that most women, and I would even say people, would say the same thing, but they don't want to say it aloud.
Guys, if I'm not gonna say some of the realest shit during this podcast, this live video, I'm gonna say this about, see, the person that cheats, guys, is like the person that punches somebody in the face. They don't wear the bruise. They don't get the black eye. They don't get a socket disconnection. They don't get the PTSD. They don't get the pain. They don't get the feeling of betrayal. So because they don't get it, they will easily ask for they will easily ask you to forgive them, because they have not felt what you felt. Now, at this junction, you're going to determine whether or not you want a toxic bond with them. And when you decide that a toxic bond is better than being single, at that point, you've added more toxicity to the relationship. Now, many people have taken people back who have cheated on them, but the reasons that they give the person for cheating is usually having to do with a lack of something in a relationship. So that will cause you to try to fix those pieces. And if some of those pieces are not fixed correctly, even then, that person may still step out and cheat on you, even though you fixed what they said was needing to be fixed. That then lets you know they cheated on you because they wanted to, not because there was something wrong in the first place. There was never nothing wrong, but they'll tell you, hey, this piece right here is just not fitting for me. So I had stepped out because I needed to find this piece that was gone. So I found that piece and I decided it didn't fit either. Oh, it fit pretty damn well because the piece you went to go get, you had the time of your life with. And now you're back in the face of the person you're in a relationship with, asking for forgiveness after you found this alleged piece that you needed to find. Depending on how great or how good this piece was, that person may keep stepping out to get a piece of that piece.
Because it's awkward or it's embarrassing. A lot of folks, oh, I'm not doing 50-50 with a man because then that means we're roommates. And most of those bitches is doing 50-50. They just don't want to say it aloud because the expectation is that as a woman, these are the standards you should have. And people are lying.
The 50-50 conversation I never really got into. When you get into a marriage, guys, you're automatically put into a 50-50 situation. In a marriage, you are automatically put into a 50-50 situation. You understand? When you have children, let me break this down. And again, if you guys are getting bored with me pausing, then I apologize, but I need to keep, this is the reason we're doing the live. It's for a reaction. But if you're in a 50-50 situation in a relationship, it doesn't have nothing to do with money. It has a lot to do with the responsibilities that each person would take on when they come into a relationship. That's 50-50. I cook tonight, you wash the dishes. 50-50. I change the diaper, you throw it in the trash. 50-50, right? If mom is breastfeeding, maybe you should hold the baby's head up or something like that, or hold the baby's body. Anything to be a part of that breastfeeding process. 50-50. Excuse me. If the kids are running around in the house and mom is busy at home working or dad is busy at home working, the other parent tell the kids, hey, be quiet until mommy or daddy is done. 50-50. That's what 50-50 is. One half and one half coming together to make a whole. Some people are misinformed, guys. That's why I'm saying what I'm saying about social media. Social media is really fucking y'all up to make y'all think that the things that these people are saying should anger you without giving you straight up detail on what they're talking about. So that's what 50-50 is, because a lot of people don't know that, because a lot of single people are giving you guys relationship advice. Think about that. There's a lot of single people giving out relationship advice. That's an oxymoron in its own. Single people giving relationship advice. Now, some people may say, well, that doesn't mean that I can't give relationship advice because I'm single. Well, if you were actually in a relationship, you can deliver more logic because you're going through the ebbs and flows of a relationship. You're not single. So a lot of your advice can be bitter and anger. You understand? When you're in an actual relationship, you're giving and delivering actual advice from the seat of a relationship. If you ask me, would I rather sit inside the doctor's office of an actual doctor or somebody I just found that fixes broken limbs on the side? I'm going to tell you, I'd rather sit inside an actual doctor's office. But so many people run to social media to speak to the doctor that's working as a doctor on the side.
And they're lying because of social media, they're lying because of pressures, they're lying because of society. 9 times out of 10, folks are forgiving their wives, even though men will not admit it.
Yeah.
And they are forgiving their husbands, even though they don't want to admit it. They are.
Is it that relationships get like boring maybe, or there's not enough sex in the relationship? Like, what is it that makes people decide, all right, you know, like, because in that case, why even be in a relationship if that part is just not fulfilling?
I think that there are.
Let me answer her question. Let me answer her question before this lady does, right? A lot of people are not educated on relationships. A lot of people are not mentally, physically, and psychologically ready or financially ready to be in relationships. A lot of times, guys, what happens is, right, you'll go to a club or a pub or Walmart or something like that, and you'll see somebody dressed a certain way, looking a certain way, and you'll be attracted to that. Now, that attraction that you automatically get has to do with lust. It has nothing to do with love. As I said before in this channel, there is no such thing as love at first sight. Love is not a fake flower. Love is a flower that takes time to grow. Love at first sight to me is like me getting a fake bouquet of flowers and handing it to my wife, where I can get a real bouquet that grew and smells good and hand it to her. Because I'm just feeding you something fake that's still beautiful. And you're accepting it too. And that's what a lot of people do when they give you a relationship. They're actually lusting for you, a lot of people. You're in a lustful situation. And at the end of the day, once the lust runs out, now you're faced with a real situation where you have to give real feedback. And you have to put real thought into things. And a lot of times that work, once we call a relationship work, a lot of people suck at their jobs. So they're going to suck at a relationship because now it's called a job. Because relationships do take work. Me and my wife been together 16 years. We've been married for 12 years. This takes work. You don't get to year 16 without putting in work. You don't get to year 12 in a marriage without putting in work. All of this takes work. There is no laziness in a relationship. You understand? Even if you are doing your best, you could be the best employee in your relationship. Your boss still has to be appreciative. Just using that as an analogy, but the opposite person has to be accepting of your performance in the relationship. If not, they're going to fire your ass, especially if they're not an educated boss who understands relationships correctly. They're going to fire you for the simplest things because they're tired and they want a new employee. And jobs actually do that to you too, guys. If you can be working your ass off every day and you get to a certain point where you know what, I'm paying this guy too much. I can get a younger person in here to do this job and pay them a lot less. Think about that. You're old in your relationship, get a younger person to come in and do the same damn thing you doing, but to them they feel better because it's a younger person doing the job and not your old ass. It's crazy, guys. This relationships are really deep. They are psychological. I've said this in many different videos. Relationships are 80% psychology and 20% that other shit. The internet is popular right now off that 20% of the other shit that I talk about. The internet is very popular off the 20% of the stuff that makes relationships what they are. The other 80%, I rarely see videos of people talking about that like I do.
there's something that's lacking in the relationship. And I would even venture out to say that it's not even necessarily the quality of sex or the quantity of sex with their actual partner. It's not even that. I think sometimes people don't feel seen. They don't feel appreciated. It's the attention that this new person offers. A lot of times, especially if you speak to women, they don't even intend on the sexual act. They don't even intend, like, they don't even care about actually having sex with this outside person. It's the phone calls, it's the text messages, it's the compliments, it's the gifts, it's the dates that are more attractive. And then by default, eventually, like, well, I might as well have sex because that's the direction we're going in. But it's not even about the sexual act many times.
So there's been possible times that you considered doubling back to an ex. What was the one thing that was pulling you back personally into that old relationship?
Just the vibe.
Loneliness.
Damn.
Just the vibe.
I'm just
I just said that earlier. I just said that earlier. I'd never seen this video before, guys. I'd never seen this video before. I was just looking for something to talk about today, and I ran into this subject. I'd never seen this before. I just said this earlier. Some people get lonely, and they get to a point where they start to not want to go out and try to find new people. They'll just go back to the people they used to deal with before and try to find the best person that they had some type of connection with and re-enter into that relationship all over again. That's bananas. Because again, the question is, why did you initially leave it in the first place?
The loneliness.
It was, my heart wasn't aching to go back.
I don't get lonely.
Like I didn't like miss him that bad, but I was just like, all right, I'm real bored. But he not even texting me no more. Like, all right, I'm gonna text him. I'm gonna see what's up.
A lot of
Let me
times
see if he
our
missed it.
partners be our best friends. Like, we talk every single day, multiple times a day. Like, you miss your best friend. So it's not even an issue of that person being the shit, but it's like, damn, like, I didn't get a text this morning. Like, no one asked me if I ate today. That's what you miss. It's like you miss relationship shit, not necessarily that person. Like, anyone could have been in that slot, but now I don't have nobody who's going to talk to me while I drive home. I don't have anybody to complain about my drive to. Like, just missing that engagement.
Guys, I've said this before, right? I've said this before. I've said this to many different people over the years that I've been talking about relationships. A lot of women have a problem being alone. A lot of them. A lot of women build themselves up so to the point where they're always being, told how they look. They're always being, pumped up about how, how they smell or anything. They're always being given this attention consistently, all the time. So once they have to be in a place where they're silent, they don't know what to do with themselves now. So they need more validation. So they go seek it. And they need to be pumped up again. So they go seek that. And they need all of this stuff. No, what you need to do is learn how to be alone. You need to learn how to be alone. Learn. Read a book. Find a show to watch. Meditate. Take yoga. Get a hobby. Learn to be alone. Because if you can't be alone outside of a relationship, you're not going to know how to be alone inside of a relationship. Because once you feel alone a lot in the relationship, there's a possibility you might start cheating. There's a possibility you might just start talking to a guy. You might have a TikTok where you go live and just let a bunch of strangers tell you how good you look today. Because you can't get this fulfillment from yourself, because nobody never tells women you have to learn to be alone. There's a lot of men who don't know how to be alone, but over the years, I've noticed women always talking about not wanting to be alone or can't be alone. You have to learn to be alone. If you can't learn to be alone, you're going to try to find company in times where you didn't need company.
engagement. I
Everybody
think
needs a
big
friend.
issue.
I think more that's what it is. Everybody needs a friend. Everybody needs someone to vent to, someone to talk to, someone to, complain to, whatever. I think that's when you have somebody that's there all day, you guys can, you can complain about everything.
So you ladies never wanted to go back to an ex.
But see, I think I was more busy because I don't even remember like feeling lonely, like, oh, I want to just talk to somebody because I'm lonely. I'm just like, I can't even really remember ever being like, oh, I'm so lonely, I hate it here. I don't know, like
So my question is,
that I just personally can't really.
None of you ever was like, hey, maybe I might want to consider giving my ex a second chance or a second stab at it because they were a good person?
I mean, good person doesn't mean good relationship.
Well, they were a good person and maybe you did have a good relationship. I'm just trying to figure out, did you have a good relationship that, met some type of obstacles that, led you to split up, and then maybe you like thought about like you should give another stab at it?
Yeah, no, I mean, I told you there's one situation, yeah, but I just,
because you said the vibe, but what is the vibe? Like, what was the vibe that made you say, hey, I should give this another chance?
We had a good mindset together. We both had the same like goals, and we felt like we, together we were just like, we complimented each other. Even when we would go outside, we would always get compliments like, oh my God, you guys look great together. Like that shit feels good. You're with someone, you work out together, you have the same goals, you want to go certain places like together, you have a similar mindset, and in a way that makes you be like, yo, I miss that. I miss being with someone that gets me.
Let's start with the ladies, okay?
We're starting with who?
The ladies.
Wow.
In terms of delusionality. I just made that word up. It sounds good. Okay.
Delusionality.
It sounds good, right?
Can we get it like a written out right there?
Delusionality.
Delusionality. All right, man.
It's not reality.
You gotta put it now.
One of the biggest issues, salary. The expectation that their man or the gentleman that they're dating should be making the six figure number. Okay. Now, we're in the tri-state area, so I understand the desire to want to be with someone who's making six figures.
Jersey.
Because you kind of just need that in order to function, right? But this expectation that that's what someone should be earning in order for them to be worthy of you is impractical, and I'm gonna tell you why.
Sorry for that. Sorry for that random Jersey, but Jersey I'm from Jersey City. That's the tri-state area. New York, New Jersey, and Connecticut. That's the tri-states for people who don't know. That's the New York, New Jersey, Connecticut.
That they could lose their job in any given moment. So if you're giving someone a chance based on how much money that they make, and tomorrow they are unemployed and homeless or whatever it is, then you're now stuck with the dude who's unemployed or homeless because you only messed with him because of how much money he made. Secondly, it's not about how much money you make, it's how you manage it. Somebody could be the top cardiologist at a hospital making $400,000, and they own 10 cars and they have 4 houses that they're underwater, and they're paying child support and alimony, and they're broke every week. So looking at
one of the problems, guys, one of the problems I always had was women who look at men for their finances. Now, a lot of women would say, well, you don't want to broke, there was this thing back in the day where the lady was like, how are we supposed to get around on your bus pass? A million. She said, how are we supposed to get around on your bus pass? Yo, do you got a bus pass? Do you got a car? Do you have a house? Do you have a job? You got to make sure you have yourself together financially, mentally, and all togetherly before you start to ask for certain things from people. Because if you're not put together, you're just trying to put yourself in a relationship with somebody to feel comfortable. And in all actuality, you're not put together, either mentally, physically, or financially. What I'm going to tell my daughters is that you have to set yourself up. Period. You have to set yourself up for success. When a man comes into the relationship with you, he's there to merge and build with you with what you already have. Because you can't come to the table without nothing, and there is a large meal prepared for you. And then you're not even ready to add milk to the cereal. What the hell are you there for? Are you just there because it's a feast? That's not right. That's not what's supposed to happen. I don't know where this went wrong at. I think it's that song that came out a long time. There's nothing going on but the rent. You got to have a J-O-B if you want to be with me. No romance without finance. There's a song that came out a long time ago. No romance without finance. But the lady in the song promoting this to women doesn't tell women, make sure you have your finances together. Make sure you have everything together. You have to have together before you merge with someone else. And I'm not talking about sexually. I'm talking about you come together with someone and you have a grand standing and they have a grand standing and you both can stand grand together. Not you have nothing and you trying to request all of this person to have all of these things and you don't have anything. Because too many times we keep hearing, I'm pretty, I'm beautiful, I'm this, I'm that. Come on now. Come on now. That ain't enough. Bringing beauty to the table. Bringing beauty to the table, right? It's like, you ever had a thing where you and your friends was throwing, let's say you and your friends are throwing a picnic. Everybody brought something to the picnic that could feed everyone else. And the only thing one friend bought was forks and knives. Y'all already got the forks and knives, by the way. But they only bought forks and knives. And they said, well, I figured I didn't need to bring no food because y'all did. I figured I didn't bring no drinks because y'all did. I figured I didn't need to bring in any entertainment because y'all did. So the only thing I did was at least show up with utensils that'll help y'all eat. So they feel as though they brought something to the table that was beneficial to everyone else because it can feed you who doesn't need to eat. Well, in all actuality, we already have these items, or we already have these things that we can use to eat. These may be finger foods at a picnic. The utensils may be useless, just like the beauty. And some people will hear beauty useless. Yes, beauty is useless in a relationship where there needs to be more in order for that relationship to go far. I can't take your beauty to the bank. I can't take your beauty to the realtor to pay for the mortgage, or the bank to pay for the mortgage. I can't take your beauty to Walmart to get groceries for tonight. I can't take your beauty nowhere. I can't. It can't go nowhere. So in all, you have to bring more to the table in order for this to be a stable relationship. You just can't bring you. That doesn't happen like that. And that's why I think a lot of the relationships where people possibly only brought them, those relationships came to an end.
Specific figure as a measure of whether or not you should date someone is problematic, and it's not going to work. So that's one of the biggest issues that I see with the ladies. Secondly, with the ladies, height. In what world does someone's height dictate how well they're going to treat you or how good of a husband or father they're going to be? There's nothing about that man's height that's going to make him a better human being. So, and again, I'm not saying that you should be dating folks who are necessarily like super shorter than you, but you're 5'2" and he has to be 6 feet. Why?
Stick to the subject. Don't contradict yourself. Stick to it. Don't contradict yourself.
Yeah,
why? It's unreasonable. Even in your tallest heels, he's still going to be taller than you. And I understand generally the idea is the taller the man, the bigger the man, the more likely he is to protect you. It's more animalistic than it is like reality, but still impractical. The gentleman.
No, a lot of women actually don't know why they don't want a short guy. A lot of women just think tall, dark, and handsome. Tall, dark, and handsome. A lot of women, I don't think, actually don't know why they don't want a short guy. There's a show, I would like you guys to check it out if you haven't. I've reacted to that show called Pop the Balloon to Find Love. There was a gentleman on there named Terrence. The women were not picking him just because they said he's not short. They didn't give no other reason why. They just said because he's short. There was no other reason connected to it. You know, I don't feel protected if he's short. You understand what I'm saying? Mike Tyson is a short dude, and he'll knock out anybody. I knew a kid who was like 5'2", who was knocking out dudes that was like 6 feet. So look at Napoleon. one of the shortest, most vicious men in the history of men, Napoleon. You think Napoleon was scared of people? It ain't got nothing to do with fear or you can't be protected as a woman. There's something in it that women just don't want it because it's said to not want a short man. It's said to want somebody that's tall, dark, and handsome. That's what it is. That's the reality behind it.
There's this desire to have a woman who has this very particular physique, especially for Black women, right? Usually bigger titties, smaller waist, flat stomach. However, usually the women who look like that are going to have higher expectations than what that man can afford. And it's not nice to say, but if she's getting tons of attention and she's this really beautiful woman with this amazing physique, then that means that usually she's going to date the kinds of guys who do have the six figures, who are taller, right? Who are more seemingly attractive. You probably can't afford the lifestyle that she's going to ask for. So it's unrealistic to have this.
You probably can't afford the lifestyle she's going to ask for just because she has a body. Let's sit and think about that. I don't want to bore y'all. I just want you to sit and think about that logic for a minute. You can't afford that body. She's not going to have the type of basically resilience that you need in a relationship because you don't have the finances to afford her body. What? Why do Black people normalize looking good again with some men having to fight hard for the Black woman because of how she's built in the body? Again, you're on the right channel where I would call that some bullshit. Your body has nothing to do, again, with what you can bring to the picnic table. Nothing. There's a lot of dudes who are chasing a body because they're lusting after the body. Once you hit about 45 years old, they're going to no longer want the body that you're going to have, especially if you haven't been taking care of yourself. So then in that case, everything that you brought to the table in the beginning is going to be thrown in the trash in the end of the relationship. You need to bring more to the relationship than a body. That's a young woman's mentality. I look good, so he needs to be able to build himself up to satisfy me. Hold up. You're only going to look as good as you're going to look for a certain time period. So anybody that's with you just because of your body, you shouldn't want to be with them. Because they're with you for the wrong reason. Because if you go through, you may go through a sickness where you lose a lot of weight, or you may go through a period where you're eating a lot of snacks and you gain 200 pounds, like I told you guys in the beginning of this live video. And now you don't look as well as you did before. Now this person is going to want to get rid of you because the only thing you brought to the table was a body.
I want a woman that has this body, or I want a woman who looks like this. And we're not looking at her personality. We're not looking at her behavior. We're not looking at her traits. And then you're surprised when she's an airhead, or you're surprised when she's a bitch. Well, that's what you wanted. That's what you got.
Facts. And I don't know during this video, guys, I'm gonna leave a link to this. I'm gonna leave a link. Well, we did the whole entire video, but if you want to check out more of the videos that these guys done, or more conversations that these guys have done, I will leave a link to this channel in the description of this video. Excuse me. Yeah. Oh man, I don't know what else to say about what we just watched. And I don't even think we ever got to the title. I don't think nowhere in that whole conversation they ever got to the title. She left a good man at 23 and now wants him back at 35. I don't think nobody nowhere mentioned that. I don't think nobody nowhere mentioned getting nobody back when I was 23. So excuse me if my title is misleading, because nowhere did they talk about that. But I did talk about with you guys that I think the only time that was mentioned, was like right about
space.
And that's what we have to marry, guys. That's what we have. That's what
A full deal breaker, depending on how many times it happens.
okay, fine.
Oh, but if
said
you
that
had
and I got
loyalty-
cursed.
this is the only part of the video where he mentioned anybody getting back with somebody. And I think the responses went so left that we were never given that answer correctly.
Don't let me
The fuck
find
out.
out.
Okay, fine.
You said that what?
Literally, it was reposted today where I said that. I said that on the podcast before, that I said, I am married, right? I am legally married to my husband. And if he cheated on me one time, and again, depending on the circumstances, that I might not necessarily
like a little bit
act.
away.
They don't even intend, like, they don't even care about actually having sex with this outside person. It's the phone calls, it's the text messages, it's the ask me if I ate today. That's what you miss. It's like you miss relationship.
Right
Don't
here.
text me no more. Like, all right.
Right here is where a conversation about getting back with somebody played at.
My heart wasn't aching to go back.
I don't get lonely.
Like I didn't like miss him that bad, but I was just like, all right, I'm real.
Now there was a point, like again in the video, where we talked about that, but again, there was never nothing mentioned about the age. Nobody never said I was 23 at the time, and then I got back with him when I was 35, which would have made this a very, very interesting video, because I would have got to hear her logic or this person's logic on why at 23 they decided to be with the person and then leave and then come back at 35. Now I think what they're trying to say is like they got bored and things weren't the way that they thought they would be, so eventually they wound up leaving due to boredom or due to the relationship not being what they thought it was. So I think we covered a lot of that, but it just wasn't, the title is misleading. None of that conversation was here. So I apologize for the for the conversation not being there, and if the video has misled you. But I think we had some really good conversation here based on what we watched. And if you think so, again, share this video, give this video a like. If you're new to the channel, or if you're new to hey, if you're new to these reactions, subscribe to the channel for more, because I do this every like 2 weekends, or 1 weekend I'll take off. I'll just go live and find something to react to. But yeah, this was a very interesting live, a very interesting conversation to be had. Hopefully you learned something from it. But guys, I don't know. Let's see what we're going to find next time to talk about, because these conversations, guys, they get more and more interesting as, you know, I learn more about how people are thinking about relationships today. And it just makes me very interested to see where relationships are leading, especially compared to when I was talking about them 25 years ago. So without wasting any more time, guys, I'm going to go ahead and get out of here. I will catch you guys in the next video, and I will see you in the next live. And you have a great rest of your Sunday, a great rest of your week. And we'll catch you on the next one. Peace out.